With the holiday season coming to a close and PS4 having a monstrous year already with more than 50 million units sold as of December 7th, who eked out the highest console sales in December 2016 for the United States? While the NPD Group's report is usually the go-to for such information, industry sources who received the actual figures spoke to Windows Central about the number of units sold in December 2016. The Xbox One and Xbox One S sold 1,511,000 units combined, while the PS4 sold 1,568,000 units. The PS4 Pro apparently made up 238,000 units sold, which was the difference maker for Sony being on top. Nonetheless, Xbox saw a 10% increase in sales year over year for December. Take this with a grain of salt, but the site itself vouches for the validity of its sources. It's certainly interesting to see the reception of PS4 Pro, especially with Project Scorpio out later this year. Meanwhile, in its official report, the NPD Group revealed the best-selling games of 2016 in the United States. Unsurprisingly, despite all the negativity leading up to it, Call of Duty Infinite Warfare was the overall best-selling game of the year, with Battlefield 1 in close second. The latter actually managed to generate 10% more dollar revenue compared to 2015's Star Wars Battlefront, which is pretty good all things considered. In third place was Tom Clancy's The Division, followed by NBA 2K17 and Madden NFL 17. Grand Theft Auto 5, which released back in September 2013, came in 6th place, followed by Overwatch in 7th. It's worth noting that the NPD Group doesn't have access to Battle.net sales, so the hero shooter sales are likely much higher. Call of Duty Black Ops 3 is in 8th place, another amazing feat since it released in November 2015, while FIFA 17 and Final Fantasy 15 rounded out the charts. Now, despite its low place, Final Fantasy 15 was actually the best-selling title on PS4, along with selling 19% more physical units and generating 54% more total dollar revenue, digital included, over Final Fantasy 13. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild will present players with a full-fledged Kingdom of Hyrule to explore in a seamless open world, for the very first time, as opposed to the hub-based pseudo-open design that previous Zelda games have had. Nintendo have made it a point to point out that Breath of the Wild's Hyrule will be massive. Well, Crave Online decided to collate and analyze research into this question done by various outlets and social media and YouTube users, including Arix, Eggplant, and Polygon, as well as statements by Nintendo themselves. According to that research, it appears as though The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild's world map will come in at a massive 360 square kilometers. For reference, Ocarina of Time and Wind Waker's world maps were less than a kilometer square. Skyrim's world map comes in at just 39 kilometers square, Grand Theft Auto 5 comes in at 81 kilometers square, and The Witcher 3 has 146 kilometers square space, and this was before the DLC. Those are all massive, but none of them come close to how massive Zelda is. The only game to beat Zelda out is Nintendo's own Xenoblade Chronicles X, but even that game made the world appear somewhat smaller by allowing for faster traversal via mechs. And as for Nintendo's previous comments that Breath of the Wild's map will be over 12 times bigger than the map in Twilight Princess, according to Crave, it appears as though Nintendo were accounting for dungeons and other levels in their calculations too, which is meaningless in a calculation on overworld size comparisons. So yes, Breath of the Wild looks to be a truly enormous open world game. Hopefully, Nintendo have been able to keep it varied and exciting to keep the player engaged and not unnecessarily pad out the game. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild launches on March 3rd on Nintendo Switch and Wii U. After Gearbox Software announced that Borderlands 3 likely wouldn't be on the Nintendo Switch due to size constraints, it was Titanfall 2 senior designer Mohamed Alavi who denied the possibility of the multiplayer shooter ever being ported. Speaking to Drunk Tech Review on YouTube, Alavi noted that despite personally liking the console, it wouldn't be receiving third-party support because it's so underpowered. When asked about Titanfall 2 possibly coming to the console, Alavi noted that it wouldn't be happening because it couldn't possibly fit on the Nintendo Switch. Alavi has a point. Even Electronic Arts' next iteration of FIFA will be a custom version built for Switch, most likely because it won't be able to handle the same version released on Xbox One, PS4, and PC. What are your thoughts on the Switch's power? Let us know in the comments. That'll be it for this video. If you like what we're doing, please go ahead and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.